Okay, welcome, Laura Lynn and Amy and Muhammad and Catherine and Taylor and Tammy and Celeste and Chanel and Azay and Amy. So welcome to, this is the week 2 webinar. And the plan today is we will go over probability and then I'll talk about the project. So two kind of major things I want to warn you. Probability is, I like to call it, a little like kickboxing. Very easy to watch someone else do. But when you get in the ring yourself, it hurts. And trust me, I've done both. When I was younger, I did some kickboxing. So probability is like that. It's easy to watch me do it. It's going to make sense. You're going to see it. You can see the fraction it's done. And then you'll be asked questions, and it's a lot harder. So that's a big warning. Many students think that this is the hardest chapter of the entire book, is chapter 3. So I want to give you that warning. Even though there's not a lot of content, it's hard because it's word problems. And it's word problems that sometimes a lot of people have trouble deciphering the words and turning that into what you need to do in the probability question. So that is a plan. I'm going to open this one up as always if you have questions. Great time, and any time is a great time to ask questions during the webinar. One of the main points of having these webinars is so that we can have interaction. You can ask real-time questions, and then I can help you out. So again, if you have questions, just let me know, and I'll answer them. You can either type in the chat box, or you can talk, and that works just fine too. Whatever works best for you. So any questions? Any questions? Okay, I think I'm going to have you type in the chat box, but some different stuff. Okay. So what I want to do, we're going to do a little survey so we can do some probability. That's the plan. So I want you to answer 2 questions. The first question is, do you live in the Tahoe area? And either type Tahoe or not Tahoe. And the second question, and don't type yet, or don't hit submit yet, because I want you to do it on both questions in the same submission. And the second question is, do you plan on attending a university starting, I guess, fall of 2019? It's a new date. I got to get there in my head. So either type in, so again, Tahoe or not Tahoe, and then after that, just type in attend or not attend. And let's see if you can put those in, and there's a reason. Because you should all be able to see your chat box. Okay, remember you have to have 2 things. So Azay, you only had attend. You got to talk Tahoe or not Tahoe also. Neither. Oh, I see. You got neither a little earlier. That's fine too. Okay, we could figure that out. Okay, so now that we have that, we can start doing some probability. Okay, so again, be careful when I ask you these things. I notice that some of you have answered twice. We're going to do one each person. So the first thing is, find, I'm going to put in the chat box too, the probability that a randomly selected person lives in Tahoe. Okay, so the idea here is when we talk about probability, probability is a fraction. Okay, probability is a fraction. There is a numerator and a denominator. The numerator are the total number of, sometimes you'll say successes. Okay, that means yes to the question basically. Doesn't have to be a good thing to be a success. Just a warning about that. Could be an awful thing. But it's basically the total number of yes answers. And the denominator are all the possible outcomes that could happen. So in this case, total number of people. So we end up with a fraction, and then you just have to count to see how many said yes to Tahoe, because if you said yes to Tahoe, so if you typed in Tahoe, that meant that you live in Tahoe. Hopefully that's clear. And just count. Okay, I'll see Chanel is no, Tammy's no, Aze's no, Amy's no, Celeste, yes. We got one. Taylor's yes. Laurelyn, yes. Okay. Mohammed, no. Ephraim, yes. And Will, yes. Catherine, yes. And then that's it. So we have 6. So let's write down there's 6. So probability, I'm going to write this out. Probability of Tahoe, I'll just call it T, is equal to 6 divided by how many answers were there. And again, if someone answered twice, they only count once. So let's look at it. We got Chanel and Tammy, Ozzy, Amy, Celeste, Taylor, Laurelyn, Muhammad, Ephraim, Will, Catherine. So out of 10. 10's a nice one. 6 out of 10. So it's easy to watch me do, I promise. But that's not the same thing as easy to do for yourself. So 6 out of 10, again, as a decimal, that's 0.6. I think that a fraction, especially a non-reduced fraction, tells a story the best in this case, because it really shows there were 6 people, Tahoe residents, and there were 10 answers. Any questions on that? Any questions? Okay, so that was easy. That's just a starter. Now we're going to get a little bit harder. Okay, so now find the probability that, and I'm not going to do the whole thing randomly selected person. I'm just going to get person. That means randomly selected. And that is, will attend a university next year. I guess it's this year in the fall, given that the person lives in Tahoe. Okay, so the first thing is there's a symbol to write that. And the symbol is probability of a 10. Let's call a 10, how about capital A for a 10? And the given sign is a little vertical line segment. You'll see that as soon as I post. The little vertical line segment, and we're given that they live in Tahoe. So I'll post that. And that's what we want to find. What that means is we're restricting the population. Is that clear? So we're going to restrict the population to only those who live in Tahoe. So the denominator now will be the number who said yes to lives in Tahoe. Any questions on that idea? Okay, and in that case, yeah, we've already counted, the denominator will be 6. The numerator, okay, because we're only looking at the ones in Tahoe, is going to be the ones that said yes to Tahoe and yes to attend. So now you have to go through just the 6 who live in Tahoe and see how many said attend. So I'm just going to go through the list, and I see Taylor says attend, Laurelyn is not attend, and then, where are we? Azai is not Tahoe, so don't worry about it. And then Ephraim is attend, so that's 2. Will is not attend, so we're not adding Will in there. Okay. And Catherine is not attend, we're not adding Catherine. So that's all of the Tahoe people. And of the Tahoe people, there were 2 who said they're going to be attending the university in fall. Any questions on that? So the answer is the probability of A given T will equal to 2 over 6. Any questions on that? Any questions? Okay, so Again, yeah, it's 1 over 3. That's the same thing. So 2 over 6 and 1 over 3 are the same. It's one of those where it depends. Do you want to like kind of do the mathy thing and make it a reduced fraction? Or do you want to tell the story of saying 2 out of the 6 Tahoe residents? Does that make sense? If your calculator automatically reduces, that's fine. Again, you won't get counted off for either. But you definitely need to understand how to calculate that. That's the hard part. The hard part is know what I'm going to be asking for. Any questions so far? Okay, so the next question is find the probability that a person will not live in Tahoe and not attend a University of Fall. Okay, so this is a different kind of question because it's an and. So there's a bunch of types, and I want to kind of focus on the types. First is just the direct. That was the first question. Just find the probability to live in Tahoe. Then there's a given question, and there's different ways of stating given questions. That's sometimes the hard part, is that of those who live in Tahoe, what's the probability that they will attend? And then there's an and kind of question. And this next one is an and question. I want to find out the probability that a person will not live in Tahoe and not attend a university in the fall. So I want to give you a warning. The only time the denominator is reduced is for the givens. Any questions on that? So in this case, it's not a given, so the denominator is everybody. And we saw from before, we already counted, there were 10 who answered the question. Any questions on that? So the denominator will be 10. Now we got to look at the numerator. To look at the numerator, what we have to do is we have to go and look to see of the people who answered, how many said they're not going to attend. So I'm going to look at everybody. Janelle said attend, Tammy said attend, and then Aze later on said attend, so I'm going to assume that Aze didn't attend. And then Amy is not attend. So notice Amy is not attend and not in Tahoe. That's one right there. So we're counting how many are both not Tahoe and not attend. Any questions on that? Okay, so we got Amy. Now let's keep going. Celeste is in Tahoe, already not going to happen. All the Tahoe people are in Tahoe, so they're not in both. Mohammed is not Tahoe, but will attend, so also doesn't count. Ephraim is Tahoe, Will is Tahoe, Catherine's Tahoe, and that's it. So notice it was only one person, and that was Amy, who is not a Tahoe resident and does not plan on attending a university this fall. So what we can say, now let's type this out, is the probability of not Tahoe and not attend is equal to 1 over 10. Any questions on how I came up with this fraction? Any questions? Okay, these can get harder, by the way, I promise. We're going to have some much more difficult ones, but starting out with the ones we can count. And what's hard about these is to know what to do. Calculation's easy. Counting to 10, I think you can all do without an issue. The hard part is to know to count to 10. That's the hard part. And to know to count to 1. You got to look to see what you want to count. So any questions at all on what I've done so far? Okay, let me give you the last type. And they always start the same. Find the probability that a person will, how about this one, not live in Tahoe or will attend a university in the fall. Okay, so Tammy's suggesting 4 out of 10, but we got to think about it. Remember, there's something I mentioned, is that this is not a given question, so the denominator does stay 10, but we have to do some counting. And there's a few ways of doing it. One way is direct count. I think I'll do both ways just for fun. And that is to do a direct count. So if it's an or question, the key word here is or. That means that if they are in either category, and both is fine too, then we count them. So now you could just go through the list. We know the denominator is going to be 10. Now we've got to count the people in either category. Does that make sense? So in either category. So we can go through the list, and if they're not in Tahoe, we're going to count them up. And if they said attend, we're going to count them up. So Chanel, not in Tahoe, and attend, you only get counted once, though. A person can only get counted once. Same thing to Tammy. Okay. Aze, I'm going to do your last one, which is neither and attend. And again, we want the probability that they are not in Tahoe or will attend. So Aze is a yes because he's attending and not in Tahoe. Amy, not in Tahoe. Okay. So again, we're looking at not in Tahoe or attend. So Amy is another not in Tahoe. Celeste was a Tahoe, so that's not okay. And then was I lost it. Celeste was not attend, so Celeste doesn't count. Do you see that? So we don't count Celeste. Taylor, Tahoe, and attend. So Taylor counts because Taylor's an attend. Laurelyn, Tahoe, okay, and not attend. And again, we're looking for not Tahoe or will attend, so Tahoe not attend doesn't count. Does that make sense? Okay, so then we go through and see if you can count. I'm going to let you count the list now. I saw a few numbers that were too short because anyone that is in either of them counts up on the or. So let's see if you can type in what it is. The denominator is 10. I already gave that because there were 10 people that answered. So let's see if you can count how many. There are a lot of people who are either, by the way. So it's definitely not a 3 in the numerator. I see some 3s. Let me tell you why it's not 3 for sure. Again, if you're not in Tahoe, then you definitely get counted. There were 6 people in Tahoe. There's 4 not in Tahoe. It's going to be bigger than 4. Does that make sense? Okay, Amy says 7. Joy says 6. I'm seeing all over the place. I figured I'd let you see, and then you'll realize it's a lot harder than it looks. I kind of gave you a start, but let's see what y'all say. So again, not Tahoe or attend. And I'll go through the list one more time after I've seen a few more. Any others? Nobody wants to jump in? Okay, maybe I'll just do it. Okay, I'm going to list them. Anyone who says not Tahoe attend, we count. So that's Chanel, Tammy, Amy, and then Taylor, and Muhammad, and then Ephraim, okay, and Aze. So that's 7. Are you following that? Those were the ones that were either of those 2. So I'm seeing lots of different answers. Okay, so it's going to be 7 out of 10. Amy had it right. Thank you, Amy. Any questions on this? Okay, so I think so. Those are kind of the main kind of single probability questions. Okay. Yeah, it's actually the adding together is right, but not those numbers, Tammy. So if you're looking at, there were 4 not from Tahoe. There are a bunch that don't attend. I mean, attend. So let me just count the attends. I got Chanel, Tammy, Taylor, Ozzy, Muhammad, Ephraim. So there were actually 6 that were attend. Now, notice that 6 plus 4 is 10, and I didn't say 10. And that's because there's an intersection between the two. So let me give you a little formula. And let me type that out. And that's the probability. And I'm just going to use A and B because that's a little bit more standard. And, sorry, A or B is going to be equal to the probability of A plus the probability of B. That's the adding. But we need to subtract off the double counters. And that's the probability of A and B. And that's a big formula. So again, we had 4 not from Tahoe, right? And then we had a whole bunch that were attending, right? But then when you subtract off the ones that were both, you ended up with just 7. Is that clear? And that subtract off is really important. That double counting, you got to be careful of. Any questions on this? The original question, what was the probability of not being from Tahoe or attending a university in the fall? It's up there. I know there's been a lot of questions, a lot of chat stuff in there, but I put it in there way up there somewhere. There's a lot of these, 6:15 p.m. It shows the time. Any questions on this? Okay, so there's going to be a few formulas today, and those are good things to put on note cards, by the way, so that you're ready for the test, because remember, you get a note card on the test. Any questions so far, any of these? Okay, let me ask you something. Actually, let's just do something because I think everybody knows. I don't want to, actually, maybe I'll ask. Type in the chat box, yes, if you can. Where is it? Where are they? Sorry about that. Yeah. And again, some of you, this is going to be really obvious, but some it won't. If you know how many cards there are and what cards are in this deck. This is a regular deck. I'm not cheating or anything. So put yes if you know. You don't tell me how many. Just tell me if you're good with it. And if you have no idea, don't. Just say no. So Mohammed, you don't know cards. Okay, I'm not going to use cards then. I don't want to block anybody out because they don't know cards, because that's too hard then. But dice, I assume you know. There's 6 numbers on this die. Okay, if you don't, then there's 6 numbers on this dice, and there's 6 numbers on this die. Got it? Okay, so if I take these dice and I roll them, what we want to do is we want to do some probabilities. So if I roll 2 dice, what is the probability that the 2 dice, at least 1 die lands on a 6. Okay, so what is the probability that at least one of these guys lands on a 6? Okay, so Taylor and Amy have some guesses. But let's look at it. Okay. All right, you're all saying the same thing, but I want to analyze this and see if it's right or not. Okay, actually, not everyone's saying. Okay, so again, as I mentioned, there's always a numerator and a denominator. Got it? So the numerator is going to be how many ways are there for both of these to be a 6? Well, the only way for this to be a 6, there we go, is for it to land just like that on the ground. The only way for this one to be a 6 is for this one to be landing just like that. You got it? So how many ways are there for this to be a 6? For both of them to be a 6? I could have it land like this. Is there any other way for it to land to get 2 6s? Yeah, this is it. There's only one way for it to get 2 6s. I'm hoping, Chanel, you meant one. There's definitely not 10 different ways. Yeah. Okay, there's only one way to get 2 6s. So the numerator is a 1. Is that clear? Okay, now let's find the denominator. And that is all the different landings that can happen. Lots of things that can happen. You could have a 1 as the first one. And then you could have a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, or 6 on the second one. Is that clear? So that's 6 right there. You could have a 2 on the first one. And again, there's 6 that can happen here. Each different die roll has 6 different choices for the second one. There's 6 die rolls for the first. Each one has 6, and that's 6 times 6 for the total. So the probability of 2 6s will equal 1 over 36. So as I mentioned, I bet you agree that that was easy to watch me do it, was it? But when I asked you, I didn't see a whole lot of 1 over 36s. So was my warning right about this chapter? Yeah, so that's a warning, which means you need to practice a lot. Okay, watching me do it is definitely not going to be enough. You're going to have to practice and practice and practice. Any questions on that? Okay, let's look at another question. Let's suppose instead I want to find out what's the probability that if I add the 2 dice, I get a 7. So let me type that out. Probability of the sum is a 7. Okay. Again, we're going to have to do some work. So the first thing I recommend doing is focus on the denominator, since we already did it, basically. What is the denominator for this? This is supposed to be pretty easy. The hint is I just did it. Yeah, the denominator is 36. It's the same 2 dice, right? There are 36 different die outcomes that you can get with these 2 dice. Is that clear? 6 times 6. Now we got to look to see how many ways are there of getting a 7. Okay, for a sum. Well, let's look at them. We can have a 1 and a 6. Do y'all agree that adds to a 7? I hope you can do that. So the first could be a 1. Maybe the first could be a 2. Will that work if the first is a 2? Yeah, the second would be a 5. How many different ways are there to add to 7? See if you can tell me. Okay, I like Tammy and Muhammad's answer. There's 6. Because you could have a 1 and a 6, a 2 and a 5, a 3 and a 4, a 4 and a 3. Notice that a 4 and a 3 is not the same as a 3 and a 4. It's the same sum, but it's a different outcome for the dice. Okay, a 5 and a 2 and a 6 and a 1. So the answer is the probability of sum is 7 is equal to 6 over 36. Any questions on that? Have I lost anybody? Because I don't want to lose anyone. Okay, one good about dice is they're pretty basic. Easy to show you because I got them sitting here. Okay, and the other, for those of you who live in Tahoe, that's kind of one of our big economies is gambling, right? And just to let, I should give you a warning. If you lose in the casinos, it's partially my fault. So I should warn you about that. Don't think you're going to win. You're always great at losing money. Yeah, that's partly my fault because I worked for them to help them to make sure everybody lost. So I consulted a long time ago, but they used my my rules and they kept them. I can't tell you who because I signed a contract that said I wouldn't tell you which company I worked for. Okay. Yeah, so just let you know, don't think you're going to win in the casinos because you took this class. But there is a way to make money, especially if you live up here. What's the way to make money in the casinos? If you live up here, yeah, you can work there. You can work there and then you're guaranteed to make money because they pay you. It's not a huge salary, by the way. Okay, that's the only way. Okay, so gambling is a bad idea, but it's nice in statistics because it's easy to understand. Yeah, you win money, actually you break even by not playing. Okay, and you feel good about yourself. Okay, so anyway, this is some pieces about dice. Okay, dice are easy to understand, easy to see. There's lots of things that happen. Okay, let me show you some other examples. What is a probability? This is going to look a little weird, hopefully. Probability that the first dice is a 2 and the sum is an 8. Sorry, is a 9. So what is the probability? The first die is a 2 and the sum is a 9. Yeah, this one's 0. You can write 0 over 36, but this one's clearly 0. Okay, they can't happen. Do you agree? So there's some words for this. So if the probability of A and B is equal to 0, we call A and B mutually exclusive. Okay, so if the probability of A and B is 0, we call A and B mutually exclusive. Is that clear to everyone? It's just a definition. You're not supposed to understand it. You're supposed to just know the words. Okay, so in this case, having the first die being a 2 and having the sum being a 9 are mutually exclusive events. Any questions on that idea? Okay. There's lots and lots of different mutually exclusive events. For example, let's suppose I'm going to pick a person at random from the world, and I'm going to let event A be that they were born in California, and event B be the event they were born in Asia. Are those mutually exclusive? Yeah. Yeah, because you can't be born in both places. Okay. How about what if A is the event that a person graduated from college and B be the event that the person works at McDonald's? Are they mutually exclusive? Right, they're not mutually exclusive because there is a probability, it's a non-zero probability, that they are both worked at McDonald's and graduate from college. Okay? All right? I know you're all thinking about these McDonald's people who work at McDonald's are the ones, you know, giving you the hamburger, right? But remember that there's the people that work in the corporate office of McDonald's. They have to have graduated from college. Does that make sense? They're making a couple $100,000 a year probably. Nothing wrong with that kind of job. Do you agree? Okay, so again, you got to envision that working McDonald's is not just delivering, not just serving burgers. And then there's some people that graduate from college and still serve burgers. Not too many of them, but there are. Okay, so that would be not mutually exclusive. Any questions on that? Again, I want to give you some, not dice questions, I want to give you some more real life questions. Any questions on that so far? Okay, so there's one more main definition I want to give you, and that is independent. And independent means one of the following. Either the probability of A and B equals the probability of A times the probability of B, or two, the probability of A given B equals the probability of A, and three, the probability of B given A is equal to the probability of B. Okay, so notice that the second one says that if you're given information about B, it tells you no help about finding the probability of A. It's the same as it was before. And number three is the same idea. If you're given information about A, it doesn't tell you anything about B. Number one is an equation a little harder to kind of get a good feel for. But that's what independent means. And if one is true, all of them are true. Okay? So you only have to show that one is true and you're done. And vice versa. If one of them is false, they're all false. So you should show the one that's easiest to show. Is that clear? So for example, let's suppose, I'm going to do the dice example because they work well. Let's suppose that A is the sum is a 7, and B is the first is a 4. So the question is, are these independent or not? Any questions on the question? Okay. And we could choose number 1, number 2, or number 3. It doesn't really matter. You just have to choose whichever you feel is the easiest. What do you think is the easiest? Number 1, number 2, or number 3 to calculate? What do you think will be easier? Okay, so I'm seeing 1 and 2 and 1. I'm going to choose 1 because you think 1 is easiest, so I'll do 1. The reason why 1 might be a little bit easy is because we already did the left-hand side. I don't know if you remember, but what was the probability of, actually we didn't do exactly, but almost the same. Probability of the sum is a 7, and the first is a 4. Okay? So by the way, I know you said 1, 2, and 3 were a little easier, but I'm going to go for it since you asked for it. Because we can calculate any of them. And the reason is, number 1, you have 3 calculations to do. There's 3 probabilities there. 2 and 3 only have 2. But I'll do the 3. So probability of A and B. So that means that the sum is a 7 and the first is a 4. How many ways are there for the sum to be a 7 and the first to be a 4? Yeah, there's only one way. There's only one way because that meant you got a 4 and a 3. There's only one way to get a 4 and a 3 in that order. Okay, and there's 36 total ways of 2 dice rolling. So that's going to give you 1 over 36. Okay, let's find the other 2 probabilities. What's the probability The sum is a 7. We already found that out. What is that? So it's a probability the sum is a 7? Okay, it's a probability, so it has to be a fraction. Can't be 6 because that's bigger than 1. Can't have more than 100% chance. 6 out of 36. Good. I'm going to write this as 1 over 6. It's a little easier in this case. That's one of those that you may not realize, but it is. Just trust me. And what is the probability of B? So what is the probability that the first die is a 4? So what's the probability this first one is a 4? Yeah, also 1 over 6. So does it work? Is 1 over 36 equal to 1 over 6 times 1 over 6? Okay, and the answer is yes. So we could actually say those are independent. Any questions on that? Okay, what if instead of the sum is a 6, if I told you the sum was a 5, it turns out that changes everything. When you do the calculations, you'll get dependent, not independent. Okay, and you might not guess that, but I'm going to let you guys calculate that. Again, we only have so much time because I still want to talk about the project. Any questions so far? Okay, so notice if they are independent, then you could just multiply the two probabilities. If they're not independent, do not multiply the two probabilities. Got it? You can't just multiply probability of A times probability of B if they're not independent. Don't even think about it. Is that clear? It's a big mistake I see. Oh, of course. There will be questions to practice on the homework. There'll be lots of them. That's pretty much the whole homework, or most, is find the probability that. And Tammy, I see you started the homework because you asked a question about it already. Did you find probability questions on it? Yeah, it's all you have. Lots of probability questions. Yeah, it's all you're going to get. Okay, so you will get to practice, I promise. Okay, it's a good question, and that's the whole point. I'm going to give you one more really much, much harder one that you're not going to be able to answer without a lot of help. And this has to do with this right here. Can you see this? Anyone know what this is? Yeah, this is lotto. So here's the question. Okay. What is the probability that I will be a 100 millionaire after Wednesday? Got it? Okay. All right, should I count on it, by the way? Okay, probably bad idea, but we're gonna calculate this. Okay, so one thing you may not be able to see in here, but I actually bought 3 tickets. So this one piece of paper has 3 tickets. So in order to figure this out, okay, in order to figure this out, what we got to do, I can show you the numbers, but I think they might go reverse on you. That's how videos work. So it's still hard to see. But I don't want to spend the time reading the numbers because I don't care much about that. What I do care about is the probability that I win the lottery. I want to win. Okay, I think the numerator should be really easy. What do you think the numerator is for this probability? Okay, remember, this isn't just one set of numbers. It's 3 sets of numbers. That's a hint. Yeah, numerator is 3. Because there are 3 different outcomes that they have in Sacramento that will make me win. Is that clear? The denominator is hard. So what we need to do is we need to understand the lottery. And first thing, you may not have noticed, this is the Powerball. There are different lotteries in California. And when I win, I'm greedy. I want to win the biggie, not just some little thing. So I want to win the big prize in the Powerball. So I'm going to share my desktop. And that is that one, I believe. Hope so. And let me go to this guy. Okay, this is the Powerball website. What we need to do is we need to do how to play. So we better understand how the game works. And here's what we want to do. So the way you do it is first find a retailer close to home. Almost any gas station will sell you a ticket and a whole lot of other places as well. That's easy no matter where you live. Okay? There are 23,000 locations. Step 2, that's the one we really need to hear about. Pick 5 lucky numbers from 1 to 69 and 1 Powerball number from 1 to 26. Got it? Okay, so 5 lucky numbers. I better write this down too, because we're going to be leaving this in a bit. 5 numbers from 1 to 69, and we're going to have 1 number from 1 to 26. Okay, and I want to let you know, because you may not know all the rules, but the 5 numbers from 1 to 69, that selection is what they call without replacement. So you will not get a 2, a 2, and a 2, for example. That can't happen. So they have to be different numbers from 1 to 69. Whereas the 1 lucky number, that is with replacement from the others. So your Powerball number can be the same as one of your regular numbers. Any questions on that? And that matters, by the way. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to figure out how many different combinations of numbers are there. And here's what you don't want to do, is try to count them all one at a time. Any guess on why that'd be a really bad idea? To try and just count them all because we want to find out what that denominator is. Like say, well, you could do a 1, 2, 3, 12, 13, and then Powerball of 22, and then just keep counting. Why do you not want to do that? Any thoughts? Yeah, there's millions of them. You'll be dead before you finish. That's how many there are. You couldn't do it. So we need to have a different way. And the good news is we have the calculator to come to our rescue. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do this on a calculator. I'm just going to look at the denominator. So let me go and do a new share. And go to the calculator. Let's clear what used to be there. Okay, so what I need to do is I want to find out how many numbers there are. How many different ways of selecting 5 numbers between 1 and 69. Okay, and that is without replacement. And to do that, we need to hit the math button. Shouldn't be too surprising. Math is important in this class, right? And then I'm going to go over to prob. That stands for probability. Oh, sorry, before I do that, let me quit that. Sorry about that. Went a little too early before the math. The first thing I want to do is I want to say, we'll go 1 through 69. There's 69 choices. So I'm going to type 69. Then I'm going to hit the math button. Then I'm going to go to the prob. And what I want is something called NCR. So N stands for the number of selections you can make. So we are selecting out of 69. Does that make sense? C stands for combinations. And the important thing to know is that this is without replacement. Okay, so you can't have the same number twice. R is how many selections you're going to make. So I'm going to hit enter on this NCR. And how many selections are we making? 5. Because that's how Powerball works, is you're picking 5 numbers between 1 and 69. Any questions so far? Okay, but for each of those, we have the Powerball number too. So there's the selections you made with a 1 for a Powerball number, the selections you made with a 2, the selections you made with a 3, all the way up to 26. So there are 26 of those. So we're going to multiply by 26. Any questions on that? Okay, I hit enter. Okay, this is a pretty darn big number. Some of you probably are even having trouble reading how the number is so big. Okay, this is, let me read it for you, 292,201,338. Okay, now the numerator was a 3. So I have 3 in 292,201,338 chances of winning this lottery. Okay? Do you think I should quit my job and go buy some tickets to Hawaii right now? Yeah, bad idea. By the way, even if I won, I wouldn't quit my job. I like teaching. But what I would do is I would give a huge scholarship out because I have so much money. Any questions on that? Okay. And I have played the lottery a lot of times because I always buy one for the class. Any guess how many times I've won? 5 times? I don't think so. No, 0. No, I haven't won the lottery. That'd be pretty amazing. But I think I would have put that on my two truths thing if I had won the lottery. No, I have not won the lottery. Okay, I wouldn't tell anyone either. I really haven't won the lottery. Okay, but somebody did win the $1.5 billion and hasn't claimed it yet. And that wasn't me, by the way, because I was not in North Carolina. I think it was South Carolina at that time. Okay, any questions on this probability? Okay, this is really important for all kinds of things. I know that somebody, I'm just going to mention this, I don't want to spend a lot of time on it because I know not everyone understands cards. Somebody said they were interested in poker. And just to know the way you understand poker the best is you want to say, well, how many ways are there, for example, of picking, let's say you're going to do just 5-card stud to make life easy, picking 5 cards out of 52 cards. So if you want to find out, for example, what's the probability of getting 4 of a kind by just picking 5 cards? Well, there are 13 ways of getting 4 of a kind, so that would be 13 divided by, and then we do something similar. We're going to have 52, and I'm going to go to Math, Prob, and CR, enter 5. And that is the probability of getting a 4 of a kind with just 5 cards. Okay? Except actually, it's one more thing. We need to multiply it by 48. I don't know why I have to multiply by 48. 52 minus 13 is not 48. 52 minus 4. Okay, and that is because to get 4 of a kind out of 5 cards, well, you have to get 4 of the same card, but then there's a 5th card you can get anything, any of the other 42. Any of the other 48 is what I meant. Any of the other 48. It gets hard, by the way. So to really get all the probabilities in something as complicated as poker is very intense. Okay, I used to teach a class in the statistics of poker. And it gets really hard. And it's even harder than that, just to let you know. Okay, which I'm not going to do. I'm not going to give you anything that's higher than elementary statistics. Okay, but it could be done. Any questions at all on this probability and piece? Hey, I want to mention something really important, and that is you're going to need to practice this a lot. Again, I gave you some examples. I didn't give you every possible example because it's already 6:55. I need to move on to the project discussion. So note that you're really going to have to practice. Is that why people learn to count cards? Yeah, I guess I didn't tell you my other history, and I could have put that on my, I have a lot of things I could have put on the Two Truths thing. I will never go back and play in the casino again because they told me they would kill me if I did. I was one of them. Yeah. I can count cards, but I can't play in the casino because they will kill me. So I have not been in the casino since they told me that I wouldn't live if I came back. Yeah, so that's the end of that. And by the way, I'm smart enough not to go back. Yeah, but I made a lot of money doing that too. A long time ago, I was young. I was 21, 22 years old before they pretty much kicked me out forever. I don't know if they still recognize me, but I don't want to take the chance of death. It's not worth it. Okay, what I want to do now, though, is I want to go and talk about the, no, I went to a different casino. I went to a different one. I didn't even get to the table. My picture was everywhere. So that didn't work, Joy. So forget it. Yeah, there's a whole list of people that are axed, literally, I guess. Okay, so I want to get back to the internet. Not to play this, but I want to go to, let's just go to the home screen for now. Okay, if you go to the syllabus, okay, if you go to the syllabus and you go and click on Project 1, there's a few ways of getting here, but I think the easiest is the syllabus. Then this tells you what you need to do for Project 1. Many of you have already done the first step. What did I tell you the first step was? I told you about this on orientation day. Yeah, find partners. Do you remember what I told you the best number of people in a group is? 3. Strongly, strongly, strongly recommend you have 3. Okay? 2 is okay, 1 is not okay, 4 is not okay. Got it? Okay, but 3 is best. So if you can get 3 in your group, go for it. Again, use the project discussion form for that. Okay. Now I'm going to read through some of this and kind of talk as I go to give you ideas. The next thing you're supposed to do, and actually let me also make sure I'm opening the chat, so in case you're typing anything, I've got it. So if you have questions, you can talk or you can type in the chat. The next thing you have to do is you have to think of a quantitative investigation. So just a note, quantitative. Do you guys remember what quantitative means? Yeah, numbers. So you're going to do a survey. You're going to ask people a survey question. And if the answers to that survey question are not numbers, then it's not going to work. Okay, don't ask them, for example, what is your ethnicity? People don't say 7, right? They say, I am Hispanic. Okay, it's not a number. So the one suggestion is ask your partner. If your partner doesn't say a number after you ask your partner, it won't work. Got it? And I also recommend that you have something that's going to have a variety of number answers. So for example, do not ask something like, how many times have you been to Somalia? How come? Yeah, almost just about everyone, probably everyone you ask will say 0, and there's nothing interesting in that. Does that make sense? So make sure that there's a big spread of numbers. So instead of saying, for example, how many times in the last week did you go out to a restaurant? Much better would be to say, how many times in the last month did you go out to a restaurant? Because you'll get a bigger variety of numbers. Do you see that? So not only do you want a quantitative, but you want a good variety of answers. And for this project, you'll be able to analyze statistics better. You'll have more interesting data. Okay, so then what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to make sure that somebody might contract you out to do this. Okay, you don't actually have to find someone to pay you, but at least in theory, somebody might be interested. If nobody's interested, it's not an interesting project. Is that clear? Do you agree with that? Okay. So I could give you some examples that I have done. I don't know if I've told you everything I've done, but the last big one is I worked in politics. Is I had to do a survey to see how much they liked the candidate. So you might say, I don't know, on a scale of 1 to 100, how much do you like Trump? Okay, and that would be a political question, and that's numerical. Not do you like Trump, because that's not quantitative. Okay, who would contract you out? And that would be Trump's political campaign. Okay, and by the way, in this class, I talk about politics, but I do not get political. I will not tell you who to vote for. Okay, that's not right. But I will talk about politics because I think that's important for you to understand politics. But I'm not going to say you should like Trump or not like Trump. But I'm going to say that you could ask on a scale of 1 to 10 how much you like Trump. Is that clear? Then what you have to do is you have to have a sampling technique. And that should be done as you're thinking about the survey question. You should identify the population. So your population might be, for example, all college students at community colleges, okay? Especially if you live in different cities, and you're going to be, spreading the wealth, and all of you are going to be asking, then you're probably going to have all community colleges, say, in California. Or it might be Americans, that could be something, or Californians. Decide who your population is, and then choose a sampling technique. The sampling technique can be stratified sampling. It can be cluster sampling. Okay. Technically, it can be simple random sampling. Good luck. That's like impossible. So if you think you're going to do simple random sampling, then you better get to me and let me know that you're going to do it and explain how you're going to do it, because I'm not going to believe you. Because it's almost impossible to get a list of everyone in your population. For example, it's impossible to do a simple random sample of Americans. You just can't do it. But you can do a stratified sample. You can do a cluster sample. I have links to those. I'll let you read through those on what you choose. Okay, then what you should do, this isn't in here, but it's definitely what you should do, is you should decide on what you're going to do, how you're going to do this stratified sample or cluster sample, and then post on the Project One discussion forum on what your survey question is going to be and what your sampling is going to be, specifically how you're going to sample. I will look at it and I will let you know if it's going to work. And if it's going to work, I'll say, great, look forward to reading your paper. Okay, if it needs adjustments, I'll let you know the adjustments you need to make too. So you want to do that, and let me go backspace one. Notice the project is due February 10th. That's a long time from now, but time moves fast. Okay, and I notice that when I read through your, I do, by the way, I read the project discussion forums, okay, every day, and I notice a lot of you say you want to start early, and you're ready to start if you want to. Okay, it's due the 10th. That's a Sunday. Due by, and let me scroll down a bit because it's in here. In here. Due by Thursday at 8 a.m. before it's due. Okay, so that's 3 days before, so that's the 7th of February. You have to, and that's more 8 a.m. So for most of you, that's the 6th of February. You will want to send me a draft of your project. There's almost never an A project that didn't get the draft sent in because you're going to need my feedback. Got it? Okay. So I'm kind of working backwards. It usually takes a week or so to write the project. Sometimes 5 days, but you're working together, it takes time. So go back another 5 days, another 7 days. Now we're talking end of January. Okay, remember we're already at January 14th. Okay, it might take a week to figure out what you're going to do to get with your partners and figure out what you're going to do. Is that clear? And it might take a week for me to get back to you, and it'll take a day for me to get back to you, but it might take a week to do your survey. You have to do real surveying, literally ask people. Okay? So again, I recommend within a week to get that post up on the Project One discussion forum. Okay, you have the information you need for it in terms of the mathematics. So, because I recommend, again, working on that this week. Any questions on that? And you post to that, and I will read your post and get back to you on it. And then you might have to make adjustments. And then you have to do the survey. So that takes time. So that's my suggestion on timeline. There's one taboo in terms of surveying, because you do not want to get sued, okay, and maybe go to jail. And that is, unless they are a college student at this college, you are not allowed to survey underage people. Okay, so you cannot do a survey on 12-year-olds. It's against the law. Okay, there are very strict laws about surveying minors, and that is you have to get expressed written parental permission. And that permission statement pretty much has to be reviewed by a lawyer. You do not want to go through that. So don't ask children. Got it? Okay. Something horrible happened. It was a lot of years ago, but my daughter was in high school. I think she was 15 years old. She came home and said, somebody came to our high school and started asking questions, and they asked me questions. And they're from your class. And I went, ugh. How could they do that? Okay, don't ask children. Got it? You don't want to get sued. I don't want to get sued. So that's the big taboo, is no children asking. If they're under 18 but at the college that you're asking at, their parents actually have already done the signing. So then you're allowed to ask. So only if they're a college student and a child, then you can ask. So a 17-year-old's fine at the college. Any questions on that? Okay, if you're going to ask a college class, it's required that you get permission. It doesn't need written permission, but just oral permission from the professor of the class. And they pretty much always say yes. That's the good news. If you're going to be asking at your place of employment, then you need to get permission from your boss, because I don't want anyone getting fired because of my project. Got it? So make sure you get permission from your boss. So a couple of little, kind of technical rules, but they're important. Any questions so far? Okay, so after you have done your study, and by the way, you must survey more than 30 people. That's going to come up in a couple weeks on why that number is important. So 30 is not okay. 31 is okay. You got it? 35 is okay. 1,000 is too much work. Don't even think about it. I'm not going to give you more points because you surveyed 1,000 people instead of 30 people, instead of 31 people. Is that clear? So again, more than 30 people is fine. Okay. I'm not reading these word for word, but I'm kind of going through a lot of the stuff. Okay. Then after doing the survey, you're going to get together with your partners. You're going to pop it into the spreadsheet. I think I showed you the spreadsheet last week, didn't I? Yeah. So that's the spreadsheet. Okay. You're going to pop those numbers in a spreadsheet. One column. There's a big mistake I see where people are doing a stratified sample or a cluster sample and think that each cluster or each strata needs a column. No, there's one column of numbers, period. If you have more than one column, you are doing it wrong. You have one column of data. You're not comparing anything. You're just doing a column of data and looking at the statistics from that. The reason I just said that 5 times, any guess? It happens all the time, even if I say it 5 times. I don't know what else I could do. Maybe you could suggest what I could do to make it so that you don't do more than one column. Okay, it's one collection of data, period. You are looking at that one collection. There's going to be one mean, one standard deviation, period. If you think you have more than one standard deviation, you are wrong. Got it? You've made a mistake. And I take a lot of points off, and they always complain. Why are we taking points off on this? And so you've heard it, okay? So don't do that. Got it? Okay. So then once you've collected your data, then it's time to start writing your paper. You're going to put it in a spreadsheet, and you're ready. So the things you're going to write, first thing, this is a paper, okay? And hopefully you've all written papers before. So what should every paper start with? Actually, there's two things that could happen. Yeah, a title or a title page. So a title, make sure, this is really important, make sure all of your names are on the project. So put your names on it. Sound good? Because everyone should get credit for it. Everyone gets the same grade for your group. So make sure everyone's name's on it. And have a title. Title is not project one, by the way. It should be what you guys are doing. Okay, the main point of your project. Okay, then after the title and your names, what should you have? What does every paper have after that? A date. Actually, a date's not important. Introduction. Introduction. So a paragraph, okay? I don't know what a 9L is, actually. But an introduction for sure. Yeah, an introduction could be an abstract. Those are the same thing. You could write as an abstract or an introduction. This is a scientific paper. So just a note, this is not about you. Okay? So some forbidden words in this project. We, I, us. Got it? Me. Okay? I will take off points if I see those words in your project. Instead, if you need to talk about yourselves, talk about the researchers is fine. Okay? Or the research group is okay. Don't use the word I or we. It's not about yourself. Okay? Any questions on that? Okay? So, I don't know why you'd need you, because there is no you in this paper either. So that's probably, I don't know why you'd say you. Okay? Then after that, what you're going to do is you're going to be talking, after you've done your introduction, you talk about, in your introduction, you should have the survey question, by the way, because that's a main piece of the introduction. Why you care, and by the way, it's why your client cares. The you is your client, why the client cares, which means you're identifying the client. Identify the population. Okay, then you're going to talk about the sampling technique. Okay, good old paragraphs to talk about the sampling technique. Talk about bias. Okay, if you think you don't have bias, you're wrong. There's always bias. All papers have bias. Okay, so talk about the bias in your project. Any questions on that? Then, okay, talk about all of the statistics, okay? And all of them that we've really gone over. So the mean, the median, standard deviation, and in here it says, standard deviation is the biggie. You must have at least a paragraph dedicated to the standard deviation. Any questions on that? Okay, don't define what the formula for standard deviation is. It's not a definition. It's how you can use it and what recommendations you are going to be giving to the client because of the standard deviation. And same thing with the mean. What recommendations are you going to give? What decisions will be made based on each of the different statistics? Okay? Don't say the mean is the average of the data. Okay? That's defining it. Instead, you might say, and the one I give you here is the mean, let me go to here. So instead, you would say, let's say you wanted to find out, let's say your survey question is, when did you learn the quadratic formula? So if you found out that the mean was 15.3, you would say, students are learning the quadratic formula on average just after they turn 15. Based on this, High schools should be leery about moving chemistry, which requires knowledge of the quadratic formula, to the freshman year. Okay, where your client might be, say, the principal of the school. Do you see that? And that would be how you would interpret that mean. You wouldn't just say the mean is the average, or the average year they learned is 15.3. It's like, what decisions are going to be made because of, after knowing about this statistic? Any questions on that? Okay, there's going to be a lot of writing, by the way. Okay, and by the way, you should have it grammatically correct. Again, there's probably 3 of you. Make sure you check each other's work. If you're splitting up the project in 3 pieces, make sure you share it with each other and then have all of you read the whole paper before you turn it in. Got it? I'm not going to be necessarily checking your grammar on the rough draft, but I will check on the final draft. So that's something you have to do. Any questions on that? Okay. Other things you should do is you have to have the charts. You have to have a histogram, a stem and leaf, and a Boston whiskers plot. Okay, that's talked about last week. Very important. And talk about, you know, who's going to be able to read it, what you get from the histogram, what you get from the stem and leaf, what you get from the box and whiskers plot, what you get from one and don't get from the other. So compare and contrast. Don't define them. Talk about what decisions your client will make after having looked at them. Okay. Decide based on the histogram and possibly the stem and leaf whether it is okay to use the empirical rule. And if not, you use Chebyshev's. And again, you may have to watch the long chapter video for that and read the book if you don't remember what those things are. Okay. Any questions on that? Okay. Look at a z-score. Z-scores are really good for deciding whether you have an outlier. Don't just use what's on the spreadsheet because that says change it. You got to change that number to a number that's interesting in your project. And interpret the z-score. Any questions on that? Okay, you should be talking about bias. That might be when you're talking about your sampling. Okay, bias means that the results are more likely to be on the high side or they're more likely to be on the low side. Explain why the bias predicts that you're too high in terms of your sample or too low. Okay, if it's not going to make it on the high side or the low side, it's not bias. Okay, for example, if you surveyed, I don't know, when did you learn the quadratic formula? And you only ask people with type A blood, that's not bias because that has nothing to do with the quadratic formula. Do you agree? Even though you missed a whole group of people. So it's only bias if you missed a group of people that are more likely to have a higher answer or a lower answer. Any questions on that? Note any other issues. Like if there's someone in your survey that if you ask, for example, I don't know, how far do you live from Lake Tahoe Community College? And they said 3 billion miles. Okay, well, obviously that's wrong. So you note that in your project. So if there are any issues, what they call cleaning up the data, if you need to clean up the data because there's just something wrong, like someone answered a question, they didn't understand it, and they said something that's clearly just not right, you get rid of that data value, but you talk about the fact that you got rid of it. Okay, does that make sense? And that's cleaning up the data, it's called. Okay, and then hopefully you know that every project, every paper, how does every paper end? In terms of the writing part? Yeah, conclusion. So every paper ends with a conclusion. So you should have a conclusion. And again, I mentioned that the mean and the standard deviation are kind of key parts of this project. So that should definitely be part of your conclusion. One of a litmus test for a good conclusion I have, okay, that helps at least, is that if the conclusion could have been written before you even asked the survey question, it's not a good conclusion. Because you're concluding your findings. And again, your findings have to do with the data and the statistics. And that doesn't happen until after you've asked the question and put it in the spreadsheet. Any questions on that? And by the way, no calculators allowed, only spreadsheets. My spreadsheet is made for this project, so just let you know that. Okay. You should also give me a little discussion of how further studies could be done in order to delve deeper into the topic. Okay, so if you had more time and you could redo it, okay, it doesn't mean you should redo it, but if you could, theoretically, what might you do? Okay, maybe you'd have some more survey questions to ask to delve deeper. Maybe you would do a different sampling technique so you'd have less bias if you had more time. So those are things that could be. Any questions on that? Okay. I do have a link to feedback on the Project One drafts. I recommend, I'm not going to read through all this. These are some feedback that I gave. Literally copied and pasted a couple of them so that you get an idea of what not to do. Okay, it's kind of like top 10 list of mistakes. So I recommend reading through these, and it'll help you understand some feedback that I gave to other students, okay, on past projects. What I don't do is I don't write a sample project, because then I find out that you're just going to copy it, okay, and then you're plagiarizing. So don't plagiarize. This is your own project. Any questions on that? Okay, if you have any references, you can have a little bibliography at the end. What I do require that you cite your references. I'm not picky on what style of citation you use, because I know I'm not an English professor. I don't even know one style from another. But you should cite, if you have a reference, you should cite it. So for example, if you did stratified sampling, you had to do research to find out the percent from each strata. Well, what did you use? Give me the web link on the research that you used. Does that make sense? Okay, that's the typical thing. I don't really care about all the details, but I want the citation of, some type citation of what you found. Okay, bibliographies tend to be really short on this project. You're not going to have 100 things you looked at. Okay, maybe one or two. If you're going to use my spreadsheet, you should cite that. The other thing that you must do is when you go and use a spreadsheet, maybe I'll pop in the spreadsheet just so that I can show you. Here's a spreadsheet. And again, you're going to have your data. It's not going to be these numbers. Make sure you erase these numbers before you put in your data. Then what you're required to do is you're required to copy and paste the spreadsheet directly into your paper. Really easy for this stuff. You can just go like this. You could right click. Okay. On a Mac, I don't think there's a right click. Maybe there is, but there's a way to copy and paste on a Mac. I'm not a Mac user. You hit copy, and then you just go to your document that you're typing it into, whether it's a Word document or a Google Docs, and you paste it in. Okay. Similarly, if you can copy and paste, you can try copy and paste. If you can't do that, you can always do a screen capture and paste it in. But you must paste in the, you must have the charts, and you must have the statistics. You don't have to have this column copied and pasted, the column with the data itself. But you have to have the column of your statistics, and you have to have the column of the charts. I will take off a lot of points if you don't do that. Okay? It's not hard to do, but it's your proof that you used a spreadsheet. And that way, when I get the call from your university saying, did your class use a spreadsheet? I can say yes, because I have proof of it. Okay, and then it guarantees to transfer. Any questions on the copying and pasting into the spreadsheet? I mean, into your project. Okay. And then, by the way, I will read your rough draft only once. That you can't, if you send me the rough draft again, I'm not going to look at it. I'll email you back saying if you have questions, post on the project discussion forum. Okay, and I'll answer any questions you have about it. So I'll read the rough draft once, and then I'll accept questions. And I'll accept questions before the rough draft also in the project discussion forum. All right, what I need to do now, because I haven't, I think you can all see this, right? I think I'll put it in, I haven't done this ever, the secret word. I'm going to put the secret word in the, can you all see the address bar? Okay, this is the shortest secret word ever, P. Okay, and the secret word is P because what was chapter 3 all about? Probability. So the secret word is P because you're doing P for probability. I'm pretty sure that it doesn't matter whether it's lower or capital. I wasn't sure either, and actually last week I tested it. And I went into the student, I tried lowercase p, it worked. I tried uppercase p, it worked. So it shouldn't matter. But I don't think you should have any spaces, just the letter P only. Yeah, so if you have trouble, let me know. Send me an email. Don't post a secret word with P, because then you're telling everyone. Okay, but you can send me an email on that if something doesn't work with the secret word. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am going to stop the share. And as always, we're done with the content that I need. I made it before 7:30. That's my goal. But I'm always happy to answer questions, and I'll do that until either you're all gone or you're done asking questions, or it's like midnight and I'm falling asleep. But I'm happy to answer questions. You can unmute yourself, or you can type in the chat box, or however you want to ask questions. I'm always happy to answer questions. Okay, and I want to remind you, you do not need to live in the same city to be able to be project partners, because this is an online class. The maximum number of people in a group is 3. So hopefully that's, Joy, what you were asking. Yeah, so the maximum number of group is 3, the minimum is 2. Number of pages, I don't have a maximum number of pages because I know what happens. Remember, I was a student for 9 years. Then you play the game on trying to make the font bigger or something. Does that make sense? Yeah. I don't have a maximum and I don't have a minimum either. But there's a lot of content. If you read through that thing and all the things I said, there's a lot there. If you think you could do it in 1 page, good luck. Okay. Most typically, a good paper is somewhere between like 6 and 10 pages. Under 6, I don't know if I've ever seen an A paper. It's not because I ding you because it's too short. It's just that to do everything you need to do, including all the copying and pasting and stuff, it's almost impossible. Because when you're copying and pasting your histogram and your stem and leaf and your box and whiskers, and your statistics data, and then you got to have your title and your introduction, your full explanations and your conclusion. It's a lot there. Does that make sense? And by the way, don't make it small font just so you can try to make it short. There's no reason to try and make it small font. And I want to double space. The reason for that is what I'm going to do is I'm going to be putting in comments. And if you don't double spaces, I have nowhere to put in the comments. So I try to put in the comments close to where you wrote. So another reason why it's a little longer. Does that make sense? But I don't have like, you have to have this long. What you have to have is you have to have all the content. You have to fully describe how it can all be used. Time New Roman, I don't care. If you like some other font, I'm good with that too. 12 point is probably the best. I don't think I'd take off points if it was 13 font, but 12 point standard. But double space is important so that I can write comments between spaces. Okay, other questions? Good question though. Again, this is the whole point of having the webinar. Pages numbered, I'm not very picky about that either. I'm just going to be reading the paper and like writing comments. So that's not so important. So I'm not picky about that. Again, what I'm picky about is the use of statistical terminology. That's important because this is a statistics class. Okay, so that's really important. All the different statistics and charts, you must have the right terminology for. Okay, and don't write like a text message. Full sentences, capitalize the first letter of the sentence, put a period at the end. What I found, number one grammar, anyone know what number one grammar error is in papers? Didn't used to be, but it is now. See, not commas. Good try. The funny thing is when Celeste wrote that out, or Chanel wrote it down, I thought maybe it was true because it's hard to tell the difference. Apostrophes. And I think it has to do with texting, is that it's not part of the auto thing, texting. So it's the number one grammar error I see is apostrophes. And it might be high schools don't teach it anymore, I'm not sure. But hopefully they still teach it. Yeah, periods are not usually a problem. But apostrophes are a problem for some reason. I don't know why. Okay, any questions? Any other questions? How do you get the online calculator? Okay, so that I am going to, I think I'll have to share it. It's too hard to describe. So let me go to, let me share again. And you don't mean online calculator, you mean online spreadsheet program. Because you're not allowed to use a calculator. You're only allowed to use a spreadsheet program. So hopefully that's what you meant, because that's all we can do. And let me put in the chat. Okay. Oh, the calculator for the homework. Okay, so we're not talking about the project anymore. Okay. Let me just finish off the spreadsheet program just to make sure everyone knows how to do that. And there's a few ways of getting there. If you go to the course information in the module, I believe and you see project spreadsheet resources. It's Google Sheets package written by Larry Green, and you click this one that has starting out. The other are all like videos on how to do it. And that's how you do that. So this is an online calculator. I don't know if you realize that. So it may not be the one you meant, but this does everything. Okay. So that's one way you can do it. Other ways, because I've actually not done it, but I know you can do it, is let's say online. Hopefully you all know to do this. Online calculator. Okay, so here's basics. And if you want more of a statistics calculator, and there's lots of choices. There's a zillion of them out there. I don't know, Matt, I haven't gone to this one, but I bet it's pretty good. Okay, and there's a lot. Does that make sense? You choose which one you want. Any questions on that? I think there's also a TI-84 app for your smartphone. Remember, you can't bring that to the test, though. Can we copy all with formula? I'm not sure what you mean by that, Mohammed. Oh, this first one's not loading up. Let's try the second one. So there's another one. Let's see if it really gives everything. I'm not sure this gives everything. It gives standard deviation stuff, but there's better. I like Symbolab. Yeah, you can do anything with Symbolab. Okay. So the tests are not online, correct. The midterm and the final are not online. Okay. Can we copy all with formula? So when you say the spreadsheet, can you do everything on the spreadsheet? Everything on the spreadsheet. And the spreadsheet does everything we need to do in this class. Ooh, do you know what just happened? My internet slowed down. I hope you can still hear me. Can you all hear me? Okay. I got a connection timed out. Isn't that weird? And I got that for another one too. So something weird happened. But if you hear me, then the internet's working. So I don't get it. Sorry about that. So again, if we go to this one, that one I know we can do. So this does everything. Again, you type in your data, it gives it. You could also do data lists, and you can get all kinds of stuff out of that. That's going to be later in the class. And we could do compute. You could do stuff with computing later in this class. Okay, and pretty much everything else, you can just get online. Anything is online. Whatever you want to do, you can get online. So if you want to say NCK, that's right, NCK calculator. There we go, hackmath.net. And there you go. Elements to choose from. Let's say you want to choose from 52. We'll do the poker one. And let's choose 5. And then you calculate. And there it is, 2,598,860. So you can find anything online. And this is an online class, so I'm hoping you know how to do that kind of stuff. Just type it in Google. Okay, I didn't do anything fancy, did I? So whatever you need is up there. Okay, but for the project, you have to use a spreadsheet. Can you use Notepad during the exams? No. No, the exams are paper and pencil. Okay, you get a little 3x5 note card. That you can do. And your calculator. That can't have internet access. Yeah, so definitely not a computer. The exam, note card. Yeah, so you get a 3x5 note card, front and back. And that's all in the syllabus and stuff. I went through that in the orientation too. When's a test? So again, I think I'm here. Again, really easy to find. Just go to syllabus. And there you go. So the midterms the 27th of February, and the final exams the 27th of March. You could take it before also. A lot of people take it the 26th or the 25th. Okay, if you take it too early, then you won't have learned the material. You know, I have it written, but you know, if you told me I'd take it next week, I'd give it to you, but you'd probably fail. Okay, any other questions? Okay. You cannot check when you share you can't see it? Joy? Can other people see that what I'm looking at now, the project, the assignment discussion? Okay, so I'm not sure what's happening there. Okay, everyone else can see it. Okay, so that's something on your screen. Sorry about that, Joy. Might be your internet access having trouble. Okay. Any other questions? And again, if there aren't questions, we'll say goodnight. I'm hoping for like several feet of snow this week. We might be getting. Means nothing if you don't live in Tahoe. It means a lot if you do. And there are no snow days on the online classes, remember. Even if the college is closed, we're still open. Okay, so good night for most of you. And again, I'll still ask questions if you have them, but if you don't, that's fine too. Any other questions? And again, you can leave the room. You can do the leave meeting, I think, if you're all done. But if you have questions, I can answer. Okay, Tammy, so if you can't find lead meeting, I understand. Again, I'll wait a little bit. Ephraim, any questions? That's it. All right, good night. I think I'll stop the share. Okay, so if there's no more questions of Frame, then we'll call it a good night. All of you watching this as an archived webinar, don't forget to, and everyone don't type in the secret word in the secret word quiz. And please post on the Q&A forum any questions you have, just regular questions, and in the project discussion forum, your project ideas and project questions. And please make sure you have partners. So have a good night.